Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Bradley. Today I would like to refute Answering Christianity. This is an Islamic website determined to prove that Christianity is a lie, and I want to address one of the issues today. Specifically, this idea that Satan and Peter were on a team and they were facing the Apostle Paul. And these Muslims use 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7 through 11 in the contemporary English version to justify their claim. And it reads as follows. Of course, I am now referring to the wonderful things I saw. One of Satan's angels was sent to me to make me suffer terribly so that I would not feel so proud. 3 times I begged the Lord to make this suffering go away. But he replied, my gift of undeserving grace is all you need. My power is strongest when you are weak. So if Christ keeps giving me power, I will gladly brag about how weak I am. Yes, I am glad to be weak or insulted or mistreated or have troubles and sufferings if it is for Christ. Because when I am weak, I am strong. I have been made a fool of myself, but you forced me to do it. When you should have been speaking up for me, I may be nothing at all, but I am also good as those super apostles. And in parentheses next to this verse, they put Peter's team. But the issue is that Peter is not even mentioned here. Specifically, they do this to try to pit Peter and Paul against one another. And of course, they want to draw this idea that a messenger of Satan is of course used and Peter's involved, but Peter is not involved because the messenger of Satan was sent from the Lord to keep Paul humble. But I want you to also understand that Peter and Paul were not fighting one another. Yes, they had their issue in the book of Galatians, but they reconciled their issues. And I want to show you that to be the case with regards to Galatians chapter 2, verse 9. It says, when James, Cephas, that's Peter by the way, and John, those who recognized as pillars, acknowledged the grace that had been given to me, they gave me the right hand of fellowship, to me and to Barnabas, agreeing that we should go to the Gentiles and they to the circumcised. So this idea is that the leaders in the Jerusalem church extended the right hand of fellowship to Paul and to Barnabas. But I want you to also understand that these Muslims had this idea that these super apostles that was spoken of in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 11, they want to have this idea that they were on Peter's team. They were not on Peter's team. Peter did not train these men. I want you to understand that, yes, Peter had disciples that followed him in the sense of he trained people under him to carry on the gospel of Christ. But I want you to also understand the characteristics of these false apostles, these super apostles as they're made known in the text. And you can find a description of what they would do in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. And it says, for if a person comes and preaches another Jesus whom we did not preach, or you receive a different spirit which you have not received, or a different gospel which you have not accepted, you put up with it splendidly. But the idea is that these false apostles are spreading lies, and they're trying to demean the gospel, and they're trying to demean Paul's authority within the church. But I want you to also understand that if Paul and Peter were enemies, then why in the world did Peter want to warn the church? If Paul and Peter were enemies and Peter and Satan were together, why did Peter warn the churches about Satan? If Peter and Satan are together, then why would Peter even desire to tell the church of Satan and his activities? Specifically, I want to look at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 and 9. It says, be sober-minded and be alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion, looking for anyone he can devour. Resist him, firm in faith, knowing that that the same kind of sufferings are being experienced by your fellow believers throughout the world. So, if Satan and Peter are together, working together, why would Peter make the effort to warn the churches? They're not working together. They're enemies. Peter is for the cause of Christ. Peter is for advancing the gospel along with Paul, and they're fighting against Satan. the issue is that Christians do not fight against flesh and blood. We fight against principalities and powers. Satan and Peter are not friends. They're mortal enemies. And the Apostle Peter and Paul are friends. I want you to understand that this Muslim website is lying to you. I want you to understand that they don't want to tell you the truth. And they want to go to any lengths they can to distort what the Bible says. I want to thank you for watching this video.